So you have this magnificent guidance system within you. The guidance system that we would like you to turn your attention to is the pre-manifestation guidance. And what we mean by that is, you can tell by the way you feel about every subject that you approach which way it's leaning. Now there is another approach that you can take that is effective also, although a little more cumbersome, and we call that post-manifestation guidance. And that one goes like this. How did it turn out? In other words, what you're thinking and what you're feeling and what's manifesting are always perfect vibrational matches. So it is helpful to say, well, I see how this turned out, and I recognize the feelings I was having along the way that matched the feeling of it. Now it has turned out. So next time I think I will try to tweak my thinking, direct my thinking a little bit more discriminately in order to maybe affect another outcome. We think that's nice. But the thing about that is, once something has manifested, especially if it's up close to you, which things that manifest in your experience usually are, they are your creation, so they usually hang around pretty close to where you are. Once they've manifested, you tend to observe them. And when you observe them, you tend to perpetuate them. Whatever you're giving your attention to causes you to offer a vibration that maintains it. And that's why so many people have a hard time at first accepting that they can create their own reality. Because many people say, Abraham, that can't be true. I would not have done this thing I do not want to myself. And we say, we didn't say you wanted it and therefore created it. We said you created it. We didn't say you wanted it and therefore gave your attention to it and therefore achieved a vibrational alignment with it and therefore manifested it. We said you gave your attention to it and therefore achieved vibrational alignment with it and therefore manifested it. There's a difference, you see. There are a whole lot of people that are giving a whole lot of attention to a whole lot of things that they do not want. Why would that be? It must be because you're still in your community of 1,000 people thinking that you need to organize them to be different so that you can feel different. Can you feel the fallacy in that? Can you feel the futility in that? You're not ever going to get them to agree, nor should they agree. We want them not to agree. We like the diversity of your environment. It's what makes the world go round. You have to accept that variety is a good thing. So, if it's not your job to get into your community of 1,000 or 5 trillion consciousness and line them all up, and it's not your job to figure out what everybody else wants and convince them that your desire is the best, then what is your work? Your work is only to line up the vibration within you on subjects that continue to be active within you. So what do we mean by an active subject? Something you think about. If you think about it often, it's active. In fact, it's dominant. If you don't think about it very often, then it doesn't matter all that much. So the subjects that you think about most, the subjects that matter to you most, the subjects that you feel around most, those are the subjects that you want to work on cleaning up your vibration. So what do we mean by cleaning up your vibration? We mean getting better at sifting what you see in your community of 1,000 people, getting better at sifting through what you remember from your past experiences, getting better at sifting what you're observing now, getting better at sifting what you're imagining. And what is the criteria that you would use for sifting? Well, it's the same criteria you use at the buffet line. You take what you think will please you, and you leave the rest. In other words, have you ever gotten something in your mouth that surprised you and was horrible? Did you put it in your mouth next time you saw it? Or did you say, no thank you, please? So the same thing is true. Did you ever think a thought that thrilled you when you thought it? Go back to those and dish up lots. Did you ever think a thought that horrified you when you thought it? Frightened you when you thought it? Made you furious when you thought it? Those are the thoughts you want to leave behind. So, what happens to a person who has a happy vibration relative to relationships, and a very unhappy vibrational relationship with the subject of dollars. How does that play out in your experience? You attract really nice people who don't have any money. What about a person who has a really pure vibration relative to money? She grew up in a family where money wasn't a problem. She inherited a nice clump of money. Money flows to her easily. Because she doesn't worry about money, she keeps winning them from Pepsi bottles and lotteries. And when she puts money in the slot machine, more money comes out. In other words, she's got this vibration going about money. What happens to a person who has a wonderful vibration about dollars, but who has never seen a relationship work? She attracts lots of rich men who dump her, or something like that. So in all of this vibrational averaging, what happens to your vibrational mix? If you're vibrating in a high pure vibration relative to one subject and in a rotten vibration relative to another subject, where are you in terms of most things? Well, it depends on how much airtime which of those subjects gets. In other words, if you are more often focused upon the aspects of your life that feel good, then your vibrational average is improving and your life goes pretty well. You get the sense of it? But if the thing that's bothering you the most is the thing that you think about the most, then it dominates your vibration and it bleeds over into all kinds of other things. That's why it's not very difficult for you to assign moods or attitudes to yourself or others. We want to turn your attention to the only thing that really matters, and that is your vibrational attitude. What you're doing vibrationally is everything, because you're constantly offering a signal, and the signal is being responded to by everything. Everything that is coming to you, every thought you think, every interaction you have, every manifestation, every circumstance and event is coming back to you in perfect vibrational matching of what you're outputting. So when you look at something that you want and you say yes to it, your attention to it activates a vibration within you about it, and things like that then come into your experience. But when you look at something that you don't like or you don't want and you shout no at it, you achieve a vibrational alignment with this thing you do not want, and things like it come into your experience, because there is no exclusion in this vibrational universe. Everything is about attraction. Everything is about inclusion. So what you think and how you feel and what comes to you always matches every single time. So when you hear that, and we can feel you getting it as we're speaking it here, doesn't it now make sense to you that it would be of value to you to begin to direct your thoughts more specifically, more selectively sifting the thoughts that you think about in order to more specifically achieve a vibration that when it comes back to you will please you when it gets there? Yes? So what did we just say? I'm going to think on purpose so that I can activate thoughts, so that when law of attraction activates and reacts to those thoughts, that what it brings back to me will please me when it gets there. That was the circle. I'll do this thing in order to do this thing, 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 so that when this thing comes back to me, I'll like it when it gets there. That was the circle. What we want you to do is make it a much easier journey by saying, I'll think the thought because I like it when it gets here. Hear the difference? I'm going to think the thought because I like it when it gets here. And if I think the thought that I like when it gets here, oh, the thought's already here. I'm having the thought. I'm having the thought now, and I'm having the emotional response to the thought now. So if the thought feels good while I'm thinking it, then doesn't it make sense that as I'm thinking the thought and doing that thing, which does that thing, which does that thing, which activates that thing, which manifests that thing, which law of attraction brings that thing back to me, doesn't it make sense that I have circumvented that longer journey approach? So the emotional journey is, I'm going to think the thought that feels good now. I'm going to do my best to think the best feeling thought that I can think right now. And in doing so, I will hold myself in vibrational alignment with this thing that I want to come back to me. So what we're talking about is thinking thoughts for the purpose of the way they feel, rather than thinking the thought in order to achieve the outcome that will come back to me and give me the feeling that I'm reaching for. Do you get that? That was really good. We've never known anyone who has ever wanted anything for any other reason than that they believe when it gets there they will feel better. And so when you decide that you are going to contour your life experience, you're now where all of your power is. Can you feel it? Right here and now is where all of your power is. You have the power right now to think a thought that feels good or to think a thought that doesn't feel good. You have the power to do it now. Jerry and Esther have a navigational system in their vehicles called Magellan that helps them stay on track. They program the destination in, and then Magellan gives them verbal and visual description to tell them which way to go. And once they've programmed it in, if they don't follow the directions that Magellan has given them, Magellan kicks up a fuss. Magellan says, please return to the highlighted route. Please return to the highlighted route. Magellan never says, where have you been? Magellan never says, well, now you've done it. I'm not going to tell you. I told you and you didn't listen. Now you're on your own. Ask someone else. Magellan just consistently calculates the task at hand, which is the distance and directions between where you are and where you want to be. Your emotions are the same sort of guidance. Your emotions, once you get so you're listening to them, are telling you, this thought is in alignment. Yes, this thought is in alignment. Yes, this thought is in alignment. Well, that thought is deviating a little bit. Magellan, or your own guidance system, is never saying it's wrong of you to think that thought, it's bad of you to think that thought. Magellan is just saying, given what you said you want, and given where you are in relationship to what you want, this thought, word, or action is not the best choice for you. There's no judgment in your emotions. It's just a simple vibrational fact of relationship between where you are and where you want to be. So if we convinced you that the only thing that is your work is the alignment of the energy within you, and can you feel the power of the alignment of energy? You don't seem very excited about it. Do you hear what we're saying? The alignment of energy within you. The alignment of energy within you. Do you get what that means? Alignment to what? Alignment to source. Have you ever had a toaster with no electrical outlet to plug it into? You say, oh, I have this toaster. I live on an island where there is no electricity. And they say, what do you use the toaster for? And you say, an ornament. It's shiny and pretty. And they say, but does it toast bread? And you say, no, it's not plugged in. And we're wanting you to realize that this alignment that we're talking about is everything. It's plugging into the life stream. It's plugging into the clarity stream. It's plugging into the stream of who you are. And so this alignment with you is everything. And once you're aligned, then you can do anything you want with it. You can attract someone. You can create something. You can think something. You can have experiences. In other words, once you're connected to the stream, then anything may be your experience that you choose. There is nothing that you cannot be or do or have. But you got to align with the current first. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. We want you to acknowledge your part in the expansion of the universe that has taken place here today. We want you to recognize that together we have taken thought beyond that which it has ever been before. We've reached into new places of understanding. We want to say to you that the only value that there really is in that is the pleasure that we all had in doing it. We don't want you to feel that we get together to expand the universe because the universe needs to be expanded. We want you to understand that an expanding universe is a given, but isn't it fun to be in on it deliberately? We make too much of all of this. Life is supposed to be fun. You are worthy beings. Good stuff is supposed to flow to you and is. Lighten up. Let it in. There is great love here for you.
Likewise.
We are complete.